Baseball in the Boroughs, presented by Verizon. The Yankees have hit a bit of a skid. They look to rebound tonight at Citi Field in the first Subway Series of the season. So let's bring in the Yankees beat writer Greg Joyce. He's going to preview the pair of games against the Mets. And Greg joins me now. Greg, how are you doing? Are you Subway Series ready?
Always ready. Should be. It's always an event here at Dexter, and tonight should be more of the same. So we'll see what it has in store for us.
We'll see what there is in store. You know the fans will be pumped up there at Citi Field. Now, Greg, the Yankees, they still hold firm on the top spot in the AL East, but they've lost 3 straight series. How badly do these guys in the clubhouse want to take these 2 games from the Mets and string some wins together here?
Yeah, I think it's more about just getting some momentum for themselves rather than beating the Mets necessarily. I think, whoever was on the calendar or on the schedule, they'd want to win this series just because it's been 3 straight series that they've dropped. I mean, one thing this team was really good at for the first 2 months of the season really was winning series, and I think they had won or tied 19 of their first 22, and now they've dropped 3 straight and 4 of the last 5, couple tough rubber games. So when you zoom out, it's still one of the best teams in the major leagues. Like you said, they're still leading the division, but when you go through a stretch like this, losing a 7 of 10. Everybody starts to get a little worried on the outside. They don't seem too worried on, in the clubhouse. Just it's a course of a 162 game season, but certainly helped just to get a little bit of momentum back on their side here, which they haven't had lately. Try to get that lineup going beyond Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and kind of get back on right footing here.
Yeah, the Yankees would love to get back on the right footing if they can defeat the Mets, possibly sweep them. We'll see how that goes if they can take this series. Gerrit Cole will be on the mound tonight for the Yankees, and as much as fans may want a full outing from him, we know that he still is going to be limited. So how many pitches do you see him throwing tonight, and when do you think we will be able to see Cole back at full strength?
Yeah, I would expect somewhere around 75 pitches probably. He threw 62 his last time out. He had built up to, I think it was 70 in his last start at AAA, but they were just accounting for the adrenaline jump to go back to pitching in the majors. So they scaled him back a little bit his last start. I think he was on a limit of 65 and threw 62. So I would expect somewhere around 75 tonight maybe, which they usually increase in somewhere around 10 to 15 pitches per start. So that, maybe 2-3 starts, he'll be fully built up to that 100 around pitch mark. He's a guy that generally most pitchers these days have a limit of around 100 when they're fully built up. Last year when Cole was going right on the way to the Cy Young, he could probably get to 110, 115 here and there. But, they're going to be careful with him. But it's probably going to be at least 2-3 more starts until he really has that full clip of 100 plus pitches.
All right, so Cole working his way back, building his strength back up. Want to talk to you about another pitcher because tomorrow night the Mets will face Luis Gil, who's having a stellar season thus far. What's different about him this year that's helped him become such a key part of the rotation, especially as he tries to bounce back from his last start where he got rocked?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting start for him just because that, like you said, that last start was the first real rough start that he's had this year. He had one in Toronto at the end of April that was a little rocky, but he still made it 4+ innings. His last time out wasn't able to make it out of the second inning, which is really the first real adversity that he's faced this season. He's been so good the rest of the time, but so yeah, he came up in 2021, flashed that strong fastball, and then obviously underwent Tommy John in 2022, but kind of used that time to redevelop a changeup, which is a real threat of a pitch for him now to almost make that fastball even better to go along with the slider. And then the other thing that he did during his rehab was kind of just really establish a good routine between outings. A lot of guys in the clubhouse and coaches have made note of that this year, that just that his routine and his work has gone to another level. And I think that's partly, kind of establishing that during the rehab process where routine and checking the boxes is all so important, but also just kind of being around a veteran group of starters. He's repeatedly mentioned Gerrit Cole and Marcus Stroman as 2 guys who he's really kind of leaned on and been able to use as mentors. So I think those guys have helped him kind of fine tune that routine and make it, as good as it can be to allow him to have that success when he takes them out, just because when he's out there, the stuff is so electric, it's so good, but it takes, all the work in between starts to kind of make sure that everything else is in order too. So I think all that's benefited him. And so far kind of seeing the fruits of that aside from this last start.
Yeah, we've seen the fruits of the labor thus far for him this season. He's done a great job there on the mound, looking to bounce back on Wednesday night against the Mets. Last thing for me, Greg, it seems appropriate that just before the first Subway Series, the Yankees would acquire a former Met. They did that in J.D. Davis. Why'd they bring him in, and what do they hope that he will bring to this lineup going forward?
Yeah, so Aaron Boone made it sound like he's going to enter into platoon at first base with Ben Rice. Obviously, Rice got called up last week, left-handed hitting. He's a catcher who is learning first base, so he's not fully developed, at first base. And so Davis is a right-handed hitter who can kind of platoon there. They faced two lefties in this series, I believe, so I'm sure he'll be in the lineup both nights. He can play a little bit of third base too, but his defense isn't strong there. So I'd expect more first base, and then also DH has opened up with Giancarlo Stanton going down, but obviously they've been hit by the injury bug here recently, just with Anthony Rizzo and Stanton. So the middle of our lineup has taken a hit. So Davis is a guy that has been DFA'd by the A's. We're taking a shot on, see what they can get out of him. He's hit lefties well in his career, especially the last couple of years. So, corner infield was a spot that the Yankees are expected to address by the trade deadline next month. So this is kind of a low risk move to see what they can get out of Davis at a time when they're down a couple guys and see what they have there. And then kind of, by next month, trade deadline, maybe they make another move. But this gives them kind of a runway here to see what they have in Davis.
Yeah, definitely gives them some time to evaluate that situation and see what they have there. Subway Series Round 1 starts tonight at Citi Field. Greg, Joyce will have you covered on the Yankee side of things for the New York Post. Greg, always a good time talking to you. Enjoy the series. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dexter. Appreciate it.